Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, or topics, or randomness, out of the blueness, commentary, re-review, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box down below. Now, how do I put it? This is a film I never heard of. It's a film called Meander. It's a French independent film where after a few things happen, this lady wakes up in this tube. Very, very small, claustrophobic as hell tube. And there's some light attached to her wrist. And she has to go through these tunnels. And there's traps, like the film Tube. I would say this is a better sequel to Tube than the actual sequels to Tube. Because there's a sequel and there's a prequel, and I thought they sucked. I liked the first Tube. I'm not really big on the ending of that film, but I still like Tube for what it is. But the sequel and prequel I thought sucked. Like, this to me was a better sequel than those, and it's not even a sequel. I know there's another film that someone saw. I think my friend Michael saw. I forget the title, but I know one subtitle for it was like Crawl, Bitch, Crawl or something. But for what I heard about that movie, this much better than how that movie sounds. But it's kind of like Cube, where these very tight tunnels, and you have these traps, where they're almost getting crushed, or there's these hiding spots, or if you don't do it, you don't get burned, or there's this little thing of acid you gotta crawl over and not get burned from that. And pretty much it's very, very claustrophobic. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself claustrophobic, but at the same time, I could very see myself, if I'm very in a tight place, I would freak out a bit. So maybe I'm more claustrophobic than I think, but I do see that freaking me out. And the way it's shot does capture the tightness. That's what he said. It does capture just how little room you have to barely breathe. And I'm a sucker for movies featuring a lot of traps. I don't know, it's because back to the day, watching films like Indiana Jones and The Goonies, I don't know, just something about traps. Which is funny, because you would think I would love the Saw franchise, but yet I don't. And that's because after the first one, they all felt like the same ending, the same sequel bait, the same gotcha. It just got old real quick. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I actually liked an ending to my story. There are some stories that can work without it, but when every fucking sequel does like the same bit, whatever. It just got old real quick. But this, I thought for a low budget film, the production value was not too bad, not too shabby. It wasn't too long of a film. The lead is a French film, so there are subtitles. But there's not a whole lot of dialogue either. Pretty much like kind of at the beginning, where we first see the lady. She's lying on the road, and she gets picked up by someone. And then the end of the film. But for the most part, it's very minuscule in dialogue. I do think the more the movie went on, the more it was, okay, I'm kind of interested in see where this is going. And there are different interpretations you can make out of it, but I still thought it was kind of a... I don't want to give that away. The lead actress did a good job. You find out that she had lost her daughter way back when, and in a way this is kind of her giving her this second chance of wanting to fight for her life, wanting to overcome the odds and fight to live. Yes, I know this cliche, but that's the type of cliche I do like. That's the type of cliche I'm a sucker for. So like, I'm a sucker for that kind of plot, and I'm a sucker for this type of try and be very like The Descent or Cube, this claustrophobic, tight, dark setting, kind of a movie that's made for my type of liking, if that made sense. And there's some interesting designs. Like there's one that would give it away. I would say this. If I didn't watch the trailer, so I don't even know if the trailer would give the entire movie away, because a lot of trailers do. I would say if you read the plot synopsis, if it intrigues you in any way, I think it's worth a look. It's nothing amazing, crazy, the most original movie ever. No, none of that. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty decent time. Again, it's like a decent sequel to Cube. That's the way I look at it. I thought it was better than Cube sequel and Cube the prequel. 2 and 3. It's like the decent Cube sequel I wanted. At least that's my thoughts on that. But again, more into spoilers starting now. Where do I start? I like the obstacles she had to go through. I like the variety. Again, there were the tunnel getting smaller, and then she's almost crushed. She got to get out of that. The way she's lying on her back and like the tunnel's closing in on her, and the director has these nice wide shots to show the decrease of the tunnel. I thought that was very nicely done on a visual sense. You really get the sense that she could be crushed if she don't move her ass. And again, there'll be times where she's crawling, it looks like there's nowhere to go, and then the wrist thing lights up, and then this hiding space opens up, and you kind of find out this is like some kind of test. This is some like big testing thing. Now, there's two ways to look at it to jump to the super spoilers in the finale. You can either look at it as A, she died, she's in limbo, purgatory, and this is her test to get out of it and finally go into paradise. Or, because at the very first bit, you hear radio, and one of the radio is someone talking about how they saw a UFO. And then there's bits that look like aliens. This could be a test by alien, kind of like how we put mice in a maze. Think about it, like, how many times you see in a movie, let alone do it in real life, they put mice, they put it in a maze, see what to do and not do, and then, hey, you get a reward if you make it out. I mean, if we can do that to mice and other animals, then if aliens think we're that minuscule, why wouldn't they do it to us? And whichever way you go, you could feel satisfied with it, if that makes sense. You go the more sci-fi route, or you go the more spiritual route. And the director wanted to keep it mysterious, so that's up to you. Which, that's fine. I'll stick with more of the sci-fi aspect. But if it was, I don't know. If it's spiritual, it wouldn't be bad either, but I just prefer the sci-fi aspect. So again, she's going through like almost getting burned, almost getting drowned, almost getting killed with acid. There's a flashback where the guy who picked her up stabbed her, and then there's this big kerfluffle. And then she meets someone in these tight corridors, and it's the other guy, but he seems a lot older. So again, it makes you wonder, is this purgatory, and that guy's been, I don't know. That one, That's the thing, though, is that there's certain bits that if you look at one direction, like, well, wait a minute, why is it this and why is that? And it does create certain questions. Instead, it makes it seem as if maybe this girl gone through this maze over and over again, and if she lost, now we're not going to kill you, we'll just heal you up. Because there are times that she gets injured, and this cool looking device, it's like a skull with a metallic eye and like zombified chin that comes out and heals her wounds. And like she'll go through a couple like dead bodies, and then there are people go, well, those are her old dead bodies. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense, because there's a point that she could be burned to death at the end of this maze. They just drop her in this trap door, and then she's brought back to the beginning. If that was the case, they would just let her die and let another dead body there, instead of dropping her and putting her back at the beginning of the maze. So, I mean, it does create some questions, but I kind of take it at face value. And I say, okay, it's these aliens want to do some kind of weird experiment. Maybe they inject her, they keep her a bit younger, keep her there, heal her up. I mean, who knows what their technology is. But then maybe they also abducted the killer, the guy as well, and he's been there longer. That's why he's a lot older, and he's got more hair on his face. Because they don't like him. Fuck him. Which I don't blame them. As this whole experiment to see the will of fight in humans. I liked. While I do have problems with like questions about the plot. That's why I feel a bit discombobulated on it. I do like the arc of the character. It may be a typical arc, but like I said, I'm a sucker for that arc where she goes through this maze and she's tough, she's fighting it out, but then she goes back right to the beginning, and then she's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you get the idea that they're going to inject her, that skull thing is going to inject her. Now, whether that means she's dead for good, whether that means they don't get another person, I don't know. But then she's like, wait, stop. And I like the ideas, some of the ideas behind it. Meaning, the setup seems kind of fun, and simple but intriguing, with all the traps and stuff. Again, tube-like aesthetic. In this stuff that's like, she's got on her wrist is like X's and diamonds. And she realizes, wait a minute. If you take... I thought this was rather clever. I liked this idea. If I could get it. I thought this was really cool. And this is spoilers. I imagine if this is on her wrist. She realizes that if you do this, there's these tunnels with a maze. Wait, that means when I get to that one, I gotta go right. And then the next one, I gotta go left. And then that means when I get to the next one, I also go left. But then the next one, it's like an arrow pointing right. And then same thing, next one after that, I go left and right. And then this one would be, I go right. And then that arrow is pointing left, I go left. I thought, okay, that's actually pretty clever. It's simple. I feel dumb for not figuring it out before, but okay, that's actually kind of, that's a cool, like, okay, I appreciate that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a nice idea. Or like they have this little girl that's like her daughter, and the daughter's trying to lead her somewhere in the wrong direction, and our lead has to stop and go, wait a minute, I can't go that way. Because that's the other way to go. And it's like, listen, I have to let you go. I have to let you go. I can't keep this guilt festering I have to let you go. I have to move on. And then what looks like her daughter says, I'm proud of you. In fact, we're all proud of you. Now, again, that could be God, if you want to go a spiritual route, or angels, or it could be this test subject of these aliens. The aliens using her to tell, hey, good job. There's even a bit where she goes through an area that looks straight out of Fire in the Sky, that alien abduction movie with all the womb-like alien webbing, and there's like creatures behind. And then at one point this monster's following her, and it's the burnt remains of that asshole killer chasing her, and she like gets one more moment to fuck him up and kill his ass. And by the time she has to go through these blades in synchronized stature, super spoilers, starting now, she gets to this paradise. And it looks like an alien world. It doesn't look like Earth, it looks like an alien world. So again, either this was a test by aliens to show your merit, your worth. Maybe this is a test the Predators would do. You want to be worth a shit? Let's see it. I mean, a predator-like type of alien might do that. We want to see if you're worth a shit. Show us. But then there's a girl that's like her daughter going, oh, you died many times. But listen, all you gotta do is live. Now, and again, that could mean, did she actually die and then they rebuilt her body? Or does that mean she also got to the... But then at the same time, why wouldn't she have memory of that? She had... And if it's just one person, when she died, why would they just not abduct another lady? Like, why they... If she died many times, why would they keep rebuilding her up to be alive again? Why don't they say, oh, this girl's failed. Let's abduct another person. Let's abduct another person. I think it needs a bit more answers. I think there's a bit more clarity from the director. So I kind of take it back a bit of what I said before. The more I think about it, the more I word it out. I think it does leave a bit too many questions. But again, at face value, if I look at it as a girl overcoming her guilt, finding the will to fight, going through these obstacles, succeeding, and this kind of her reward, either on this nice looking alien world with someone that's like her daughter to keep her company, or paradise, whichever way it may be, it's not too bad of a film. Again, I know the director, in making it more mysterious, I think he creates a bit more questions that contradict one another if you try to answer it, and I think there's a few bits that could have been smoothed out, and there's a bit things that maybe go, what about this? What about that? Just takes the rating down a little bit. But I mean, for me, I'd probably give it like, and I rarely give star ratings, but I would probably give like 3.5 out of 5. If it answered more questions, it was much more, okay, those dead bodies, they were other people before her. And she's the new subject, but she made her merit and her worth. And if the daughter didn't say, well, you could have died many times. Or like if she didn't say that line, like if you change a couple things, it would have been a higher rating. As is, like, it's a pretty decent film. But I like Tube, and I hate the ending to that movie. I do. I hate the ending to Tube. I just do. Like, in a way, this ending I like more than the ending of Tube. So that's the thing. Like, Tube, the first half might have been a bit more interesting in its writing, but I hated the ending. Here, I do think the ending is a bit better. So, take it or leave it. But, yeah, overall, I didn't mind that. It was, at the very least, a decent film. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.